Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Total War Warhammer. Today we're going to be looking at a battle replay, and in Total War Warhammer, I've been trying to do a battle with each of the factions to kind of show them off to you guys and show you the rosters that they can bring to the battles. So we're going to do that. Today is the Warriors of Chaos. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that out of all the factions, including Bretonnia, I mean, this is Chaos with quite a few options, and this is Bretonnia with very, very, very few options. And again, Chaos Warriors with lots of options. This is literally the faction that I find hardest to play in multiplayer. Specifically quick battles where the funds are set to large. Now, why is that? Well, everything is overpriced. Well, I won't say they're overpriced, but everything that the Chaos brings is expensive as fucking shit. I don't know if that's even a word. I don't know if I'm saying the right connotations, annotations, something. All I know is that I've been playing as Chaos Warriors for like 8 games straight, and I am having a really hard time with it, guys. So the battle that you're going to see today is interesting, but I kind of feel like I should have lost it, and I kind of went through a bit of a gimmicky setup, but you'll see a bit about that in the battle. But let me just explain my point here. So if you want to bring any of the legendary lords, Archaon Everchosen, 2,100. He is 400 more points than any of the other legendary lords. The closest runner-up, I do believe, is Manfred von Karstein. The reason being that they're both melee experts, armored spellcasters. However, Manfred von Karstein can bring a zombie dragon, knows 2 books of magic, including the Lore of Death, which I think is the most useful. Whereas Archaon, I think Archaon's quite a bit better in melee than... Yeah, he's quite a bit better in melee. Well, I mean, he's got 10 more armor. He's got less speed, but I mean, he's in really fucking heavy armor. Or at least he's supposed to be. He is shielded, so that is a bonus there. He has 5 more melee attack, and his melee attack is magical. And then his other stats were a little bit better as well. But he's quite a bit more expensive. He does know the Lore of Fire, but he also can only come on basically what amounts to a slightly beefier, barded Hellsteed. He can't bring any flying mounts, which is unfortunate because that's the way I like to go. Kolak Suneater, very expensive, pretty tough as well, with scaly skin causes terror. Blah, 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 all those good things. He even has some kind of interesting abilities like Lord of Storm. But he's a giant fucking ogre dragon thing that's probably one of the biggest like units in size, like actual size, in the game. And he gets sniped by everything. He gets sniped by riflemen, by crossbowmen, by cannons, by vampire counts using Spirit Leech. Because there's literally no way to hide him or to move him around, and there's no use to bring Kolak Suneater unless he's going to be in the thick of the fighting. He's not as good of a duelist as some of the other lords, but he is very good about just smashing through infantry and whatnot. But when he's getting sniped, because he's literally the largest thing on the battlefield, and when you see a gigantic dragon ogre Shaggoth with a huge hammer and lightning coming out of his eyes, and you are the guy manning the cannon, you're generally going to fire the cannon at him. The riflemen are generally going to fire their rifles at him. The vampire counts with Spirit Leech are generally going to try and Spirit Leech the shit out of him. So I don't find him very cost effective. Next we have the Chaos Sorcerers. Well, there's one more legendary lord, Prince Sigvald the Magnificent. I don't think he's even worth mentioning in multiplayer though, because he doesn't have any mounts at all, so his speed is not going to be, he's not going to be able to maneuver around the battlefield very well. And I feel like your lord should be able to maneuver quite nicely, or else you could get pinned down and Spirit Leeched. Very, very nasty stuff. So I don't find him that useful, and I don't find the Chaos Lord particularly useful either. He is a melee expert, armored and shielded, and he can bring flying mounts as well as regular mounts. But it's with the Chaos Sorcerer Lords that I think that your best option is, and I think the best out of those is the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Death, because he allows you, one of the few units in the roster, to counter snipe the Spirit Leeching snipers that you might encounter. He's one of the few things that can fight back against them because he has Spirit Leech himself. So that's what I normally bring. I usually bring the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Death on a Manticore. I also like that he has the Fate of Biana. I really like the Lore of Death, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that do because I see a lot of people using it. But the Fate of Biana is really good against things like Demigryphs and whatnot. For heroes, they have like the Exalted Hero, which is a melee hero, and then they have a Sorcerer that represents each of the ones that they can bring: Fire, Metal, and Death. It is interesting to know that the Sorcerer of Death is more expensive than the other two, but the Sorcerer Lord is the same price. So my advice is, if you wanted to bring two, I would bring the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Death as your Lord, and then if you really badly wanted to bring Fire, then I would bring the Hero. If you really wanted Metal, I would bring the Metal. But I would not bring them as the Lord if you intend on bringing two. But anyways, on to the Infantry. Infantry, these are the only three you should look at. Anything beyond this point is too expensive. You have Chaos Marauders, not particularly great. You have Chaos Marauders with great weapons. Because they have great weapons, they obviously have less weapon strength, because that makes sense, CA. And Chaos Warriors with... Yeah, and then Chaos Warriors with great weapons have more weapon strength, but when you have a two-handed axe and you're a Viking, you actually do less damage. But if you're Chaos Warrior, you do more. I know, I'm frustrated. And it's not because the balancing is really bad. There's definitely things that need fixed here and there across the game, but I love the game. It really is just that I've had some frustrating games recently trying to play these guys because I suck at them. And that's just it. I'm sure there's people that are really good with these guys. I just am not. So I apologize for my negative Nancy sounding commentary. We'll try and finish this up quick. I'm spending too much time already nagging about how bad I am. But yeah, so Chaos Marauders, that's kind of your meat shield here. They are shielded. Chaos Marauders with great weapons if you need the armor penetration, but otherwise they have less weapon strength and no shield and 100 more, but it's not that expensive for great weapons. Forsaken are an interesting option as well. They actually have pretty decent leadership compared to the regular Marauders. And they have really high weapon strength. But they don't have the best melee defense, but they actually have quite a bit of armor. So Forsaken are an interesting option. They also have Frenzy and Damage Dealer. Now, you might be able to bring Chaos Warriors great weapons, or Chaos Warriors halberds, but they are kind of expensive, so if you bring them, it'll be in very, very small numbers. I kind of thought that the Chaos Warriors, like these three units, would be kind of the backbone of your army, and then these would fill it out, and then these ones would be maybe a couple of elite. But with quick battle fun settings to large, you just can't afford to do that. It'll be like, maybe you can bring two of these guys if you're lucky. And Chosen are fucking beasts, but they're really fucking expensive. Really damn expensive. I mean, for a Chosen with great weapons, you can get 3 of the Chaos Marauders with great weapons. So, hell, it might be able to beast all 3 of them out, though. I think one problem I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a full 20 stack, or at least close, at least like a 16 to 20, somewhere in that range. Whereas maybe the Chaos Warriors, even with the low money settings, should just bring a 10 stack of elite units. In campaign, they work great because you just need to earn the money to have these guys. It's not restricted, each army. Anyways, Cavalry and Chariots, again, I think that they're pretty damn expensive for what they are, although the Gorby's Chariots are pretty cool looking. And the Chaos Knights are good, they're just expensive. So good luck bringing very many of these guys, because they are literally the most expensive cavalry in the game. Chaos Knights with lances are more expensive than Demigryphs, more expensive than Grail Knights, more expensive than Reichland Knights, and more expensive than anything the Orcs bring for cavalry. Missile Cavalry and Chariots, they do have these Horseman Marauders, which are kind of affordable. However, I have no idea why you'd ever want to bring just the regular Marauder Horsemen. They do have Vanguard deployment, but they only throw spears. Now, if you bring the more Nordic of the options, the Throwing Axe variant, it's only 50 points more, but you get a shield, you get armor-piercing missiles, you still get Vanguard deployment, you get a little bit more leadership, you get a bit more melee defense. And did I mention armor-piercing, which is quite nice? Yeah, I like to throw these guys at Demigryphs because that's fun. And with Vanguard, they actually are pretty useful about, or yeah, pretty useful taking out artillery, but don't expect them to last too long in melee combat with any other unit in the game, because they probably will not last overly long, unless it's something like goblins. But, I mean, these guys are basically the goblins of the chaos, which is kind of sad, because these are gigantic, overly large warrior society human Vikings that shouldn't be as shit as they are. But I don't know, I'm kind of fanboy about Vikings. God damn it. I'm so bad at like wasting time. Okay, so monsters, they have a lot of monster options, everything from dragon ogres to giants to chaos spawn to trolls, including armored, and chaos warhounds. What I have found so far that works best is maybe chaos trolls armored if you can keep their leadership high, otherwise they rout really fast. Chaos spawn, not as tough overall, but they have good weapon strength and excellent leadership. They will literally fight until they are all dead, which is great. Chaos giants are lumbering giants. They're fucking slow. They're a big target, and people like to snipe them. Dragon ogres are pretty awesome, but they're pretty expensive. Dragon ogre shaggoths are a mix between dragon giants and dragon ogres. They're very big, pretty slow, do lots of damage, but people like to snipe them. Artillery, you only get one artillery piece with this. So, yeah, for that price, they're probably going to get sniped by other artillery if they have it. Anyways, now you know that for quick battles, yeah, for these quick battles that put you up on the leaderboard, I am not a fan of chaos for myself. I have not found a way to do it properly. But enough of my whining. Let's go ahead and watch one of my gimmicky replays where I win with some bullshittery. I have noticed that people are bringing smaller armies in quick battles, so perhaps I just need to be more economical and not try and fill out a 20 roster. I need to just bring more elite units and less of them, instead of just spamming Chaos Marauders, but I'm not sure. Alrighty, so look at this lovely sunset in the Badlands. I have no idea how the Chaos and Empire found each other here, but we did. So, for the backbone of my army, can I just say, even though I'm frustrated with Chaos, I fucking love these Chaos Marauders. If they made just a Norscan, like if they added more units to the Norskins, Norscan tribes, and made them playable, just like fleshed out the roster a little bit, even if they weren't that good, I would play the shit out of them in campaign, because I love Viking culture. And these guys are fantasy Vikings mixed with actual metal bands, because, I mean, spiky helmet dude, spiky leather wrist thing. These guys walked out of a Metallica concert just a few minutes ago. But yeah, so that is the backbone of my army. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I have 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Sorry, I'm a bad counter. So that's the backbone of my army. It's the meat of my army. I have 2 Chaos with halberds, Chaos Warriors halberds. These guys are pretty cool as well. I do advise, for campaign anyways, that you get the mod with no bald dudes, or there's a couple other cosmetic ones, but I just think they look goofy without a helmet. With a helmet, sorry, this video is going to be long either way because I'm ranting so much, but with helmet, this guy looks like a badass. Without helmet, a little bit goofy. I mean, a little intimidating, yes, but kind of goofy at the same time. Kind of like a football player jock who, pretty dumb, you know, kind of the generic football player. American football, sorry. His mom loves him, but his girlfriend only loves him because he's popular. Anyways, then I have 2 Chaos Marauders with great weapons for that armor penetration and lower weapon damage, because that axe does less weapon damage than that axe. Why? No idea. But these guys look fucking amazing, and I love them. Oh yes, I wish they had their own faction. Yeah, so that's my main infantry here. I need to pause it. So I have 2 Chaos Knights. I did decide that I was going to bring them. I saw that I was going up against the Empire, and so I picked a build that I thought would be reasonably good at countering artillery and countering Demigryph Knights, while still bringing a decent infantry force in case he did have a decent infantry force himself. So the 2 halberds are there specifically to stop Demigryph Knights. They're not even going to participate in the main melee battle if I can help it. And the Chaos Knights are there to bog down the Demigryph Knights. Now, note that the Chaos Knights cost more, but will lose every single time to Demigryph Knights. So make sure that you back them up with something. At least they'll lose to Demigryph Knights with lances. The regular ones, I'm not 100% sure, but the ones with lances have a bonus versus large. He's trying to target my general up here, which I did bring the Death Sorcerer. But let's go take a look over here at my little surprise for him. These are my Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes that I put in Vanguard deployment over the hill. He hasn't seen them yet. I don't know if he's like zoomed in on something, but he's got some Demigryphs here that are about to feel the power of the throwing axe. And then this other one is going to go and into melee and attack his great cannon, because that's why I brought them in the first place. So yeah, those don't appear to be that effective. It's not even like arrows where they at least sometimes stick into him. I mean, these are just literally like bouncing off him, and the guy's like, huh, what was that? Did you feel something? Oh, that one's going down. I killed a couple. No, I'm overreacting. They actually, for the price, they can do some decent damage to Demigryphs, as long as you don't let them get caught. Now, these guys are in skirmish mode, so the AI is supposed to pull them out and start running away from any melee conflict anytime a unit gets close to them, but never, ever rely on that, because, yeah, they'll get caught. Also keep in mind that even though my guys are faster, they are still getting caught. These Demigryph Knights are like 30 speeds slower than my Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, but they're still catching him, which is annoying as fuck. However, I will say this. He's being an absolute dumbass by chasing Marauder throwing axemen with Demigryphs. Look how much damage I've done to him while he's been chasing me with this one. This one didn't do as good because it got caught somehow. I don't know how in the Seven Hells it got caught, but it did get caught. Anyways, back to the main line while they're running off in La La Land. I am now meeting great swords with Marauders, not doing so hot there. My Marauder Horsemen didn't kill that many of these guys before they got ran off by the local Demigryph Knight squadrons. And now I'm about to make contact all along the line. Chaos Marauders versus the Swordsmen. Now, in theory, these guys should be pretty damn evenly matched, but I'm going to lose this entire line of infantry, spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm not very good at this, am I? Looks fucking awesome, though. I mean, look at these big-ass Viking warriors coming in, smashing up the swordsmen. But these swordsmen, in their small armor and tiny swords and shields, are going to win against these gigantic Vikings wearing pretty good armor, honestly. Wielding giant shields and very large axes. But, ah well, such is the way of the world. And here go my Chaos Marauders with great weapons coming in. They are fucking up shit a bit better. Until that happens. But I was standing by with my guy here, my general. So Fate of Biona on these Demigryph Knights, so they're going to take a shit ton of damage. And then, of course, Spirit Leech on his general. So, yeah, these Demigryph Knights are almost dead from that, and his general's almost dead from that. Yeah, the Lore of Death, OP. I don't think any other magic book is even necessary if you have death. That's why I like the vampire counts so much, because they're fucking amazing. Yeah, but you can see that with the help of his Demigryph Knights and whatnot, I am going to start losing this. And yes, I do have halberds, but they're Chaos Warrior halberds in super fucking heavy armor, which means they're literally one of the slowest infantry in the game. In fact, I think that these guys would even lose to dwarfs in a marathon. Maybe not. I'm perhaps being a little bit too negative Nancy about these guys. I mean, after all, this guy's got a skull on his horns that are on his big helmet, so he's going to be a little bit slower than the average Empire swordsman. But you can see his Demigryph Knights are wrecking my shit right now, and he is being smart about his gunners, though, having them concentrate on my general here. But I was able to get another Spirit Leech off on his general. I think in total I got 3 Spirit Leeches off on his general, as well as he was in melee combat with other units, so he does die there. Normally it takes, I believe, 4 Spirit Leeches, which drains most of your Winds of Magic, but usually worth it. However, in a battle like this, you kind of want to balance using that on the general and Fate of Biona on the Demigryphs, which are about to pull off another wonderful recharge here. Boom! I will say, though, these Chaos Warrior halberds, even though they're expensive, they are pretty damn heavily armored. I'm going to throw my general in there. All he did, though, was wreck my own lines mostly, and then he's going to fly away. Did get some of these guys into handgunners, which is nice. And now that his general is dead, even though he was winning that battle hands down, I am now suddenly routing everything that I touch at this point, because that's something you should know if you're going to try and play this game online, is that your men are held together by your generals and heroes. If you have a general and heroes, losing your general isn't as huge of an effect, but if you only bring one general, losing that general is very, very bad. And here goes another Fate of Vienna. Let's just watch that health bar go down. That is honestly the best count to Demigryph Knights, in my opinion. People are, trying to say how to counter them because they're too OP. Look at that. Fate of Vienna almost dead. In fact, this might kill them. Yeah, that killed them, I'm pretty sure. Pretty close. And there's a victory. Now you see why it was kind of a cheeseball victory. I mean, it's not, because he did let his general get way too close to my guy. I'm pretty sure he didn't understand what Spirit Leech was and why his general was dying so quickly, or else he wouldn't have let him get that close to my general. He was smart about trying to snipe my general with cannons and handgunners, so I wasn't able to get, like cross the lines onto his side of the field to try and snipe his general. But when his general comes straight into the lines and tries to even push through my lines, then his handgunners and cannons aren't going to help him overly much. In fact, you can see the Chaos Sorcerer only got technically one enemy troop killed, even though he used magic to kill the general and magic to kill a ton of demigryphs. So that's kind of interesting. That doesn't count magic kills. Actually, it might just destroy their health and not kill the actual models or the actual, I don't know. Anyways, so Chaos Marauders, some of them did actually better than I thought they would, I will admit it. However, the Swordsman did better. Chaos Marauders with great weapons didn't do particularly well. Chaos Warriors with halberds didn't do particularly well, but then again, they were going head-to-head with Demigryph Knights, so even if they only got a few kills, a couple of kills against Demigryph Knights is far more worth it than a lot of deaths on my hand. Chaos Knights, more expensive than Demigryphs, pretty bad, in my opinion. I did kind of use them as a stopping force for the Demigryphs, just that my halberds could get into them quicker, so Demigryph Knights with halberds will wreck their shit. Keep that in mind. Especially since they have anti-large and armor piercing, so these guys didn't stand a chance, even though they're more expensive, which makes sense. I'm not complaining about that. These Demigryph Knights should have chewed through these guys with bonus against large and armor piercing, but I do wish they had lasted a bit longer. Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes got very few kills, but those kills were against, again, Demigryph Knights, so worth it. The cannon got a lot of kills, surprisingly, and the Demigryphs did, and the Greatswords did. In fact, I'm pretty sure that they had, yeah, so my losses were much higher than his losses, almost twice as much. But yeah, when you general snipe, that's what can happen. Oh dear Lord. Well, if any of you guys are still watching this, I appreciate you and thank you for watching. I'm not as shit with the Empire, so I hope that you can forgive me for this episode and how bad I am with chaos, and I hope that you will be here with me next time when I show you guys the Empire. And there also should be a machinima coming out sometime this weekend for one of the Warhammer factions, but who will it be? I don't know. Oh. Yep, that's about it. I'm gonna go drink 5 bottles of rum and put myself to bed now after that fun evening. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.